What's good with the YouTube with Convicts Perspective? It's your boy, Big Flocko. Smashing, dashing, sliding on through, as always, with a little bit of energy. And today, as you already see by the title and the thumbnail, we're going to be giving you guys a federal update. We'll just take it from here.
Hey, my bad. That's right. What we got, man, we got an updated story, a little bit about that. I'm gonna go into why this all started in the first place and touch on a couple other things as well, man. You guys have been asking for it, so we're gonna give it to you. This is from the Houston Chronicle. The title is Federal Prison System in Lockdown After 2 Inmates Are Killed at Beaumont Facility. The entire federal prison system went on a nationwide temporary lockdown Monday after 2 inmates were killed and another 2 were injured during a fight between gangs at a facility in Beaumont, Texas, which is a suburb of Houston. The altercation involving members of the MS13 Los Angeles street gang happened at USP Beaumont Prison 11:30 a.m. Monday, according to the Associated Press. After officers at Beaumont witnessed a group fighting and responded to secure the area. The killings of 2 inmates, Andrew Pineda, 34, and Guillermo Riojas, 54, led to a lockdown of more than 120 facilities across the U.S. due to concerns over retaliatory violence at other prisons. During this time, prisoners across the U.S. have been kept in their cells and visits have been canceled. According to court records obtained by the Associated Press, both men had been involved in melees during their prison terms. Pineda, who only arrived at USP Beaumont last February, was serving a more than 6-year term for racketeering. Pineda was a member of the Mexican Mafia prison gang and had carried out assaults on inmates while serving time in LA in 2015. Meanwhile, Riojas was a couple of decades deep into a 38-year sentence for carjacking and interfering with interstate commerce. He had also been involved in multiple stabbings during his stint, including one at a Pennsylvania penitentiary in 1998 and one in Colorado in 2007. The last time the federal system faced a nationwide lockdown was during the January 6, 2020 insurrection at the U.S. Capitol, as the Senate was tallying votes to formalize President Joe Biden's recent electoral collage victory. Due to what's been called a staffing crisis, USP Beaumont has had its share of significant issues, including several escapes from the facility in the recent years. And according to an AP report last June, local law enforcement officials had joked that Beaumont's prison security was so negligent that it effectively had an open door policy for its inmates. I find that funny. But that's just a little bit more about the individuals. But what I really wanted to get at, the point of this whole update, was the reason that it occurred. Now, I talked to some people who are still involved in that lifestyle from down the way, and they say it all stems from an issue that happened at Lee Penitentiary. And I'll get right into it. And this is from the Department of Justice, Western District of Virginia. Abingdon, Virginia. A federal grand jury sitting in the United States District Court in Abingdon, Virginia, indicted 5 inmates incarcerated at the United States Penitentiary, Lee County, USP Lee, for conspiring to murder a fellow inmate at the prison. Acting United States Attorney, excuse me, Daniel Bubar announced today. In a 5-count indictment returned February 9th, the grand jury charged Morris Flores, Carlos Almonte, Julie Chavez,
It goes to the females,
Angel Guevara, and German Hernandez, each with 1 count of conspiracy to commit the premeditated murder of victim AZ. That's all they say is AZ. And 1 count of attempted murder. In addition, the grand jury charged Flores, Guevara, and Almonte with 1 count each of assault with a dangerous weapon and possession of contraband inside of a federal prison. According to the indictment, on January 15th of 2020, Flores and Guevara entered the cell occupied by victim AZ, while Almonte, Chavez, and Hernandez surrounded the cell, preventing others from interfering and holding the door closed. Inside the cell, the indictment alleges that Flores and Guevara beat the victim with metal shanks and closed fists. Victim AZ sustained multiple stab and puncture wounds. The investigation of the case was conducted by the Federal Bureau of Investigations and Bureau of Prisons. Assistant United States Attorneys Lena Bashur and Danny Murphy are prosecuting the case for the United States. The indictment is merely an accusation. The defendants are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Now that's the end of the thing, but what it doesn't mention is that individual AZ that they only call him by his initials, was a member of the MA that was in good standing. So this is where I've heard, this is only rumors, and they're rumors from active individuals.
It's a fact.
This is what
It's a
started
fact.
it. I agree too. I just don't want to say
No.
that because I don't know
No, because
1000%.
I heard about the story a few months ago, man. Someone was going to shoot it to me. You know what I mean? There's been a little bit of issues going on. You know what I'm saying? But some of it's more in the pen. It's not really necessarily on the streets. So I don't know if that's going to carry over. And we said this before. There's two gangs, if they wanted to, with so much members and such a long extended hand throughout the country, that could actually almost go up on their own. 18th Street and MS13. They're deep and they're everywhere. You know, their numbers are probably the same equivalent as many as there is of Norteños, if you think about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, of course,
maybe even more.
you know what I mean? Of course, they wouldn't take over the yards, but they would be able to establish yards for themselves. You know what I mean? And that could happen. I mean, look what happened to the Bulldogs. You know, that sometimes there's a power struggle.
Yeah,
know?
what I've gathered too, man, even from active individuals from down the way, is that while the MS and not, I haven't heard so much about 18s, but I'm assuming it's the same just based on common sense. While the MS in California and you know, the Southwest states, the West Coast, are really strongly still under that umbrella with their agreement with the homies from down south, man, there's so many thousands of other ones from other states and whoop-de-whoop that have never even necessarily heard of them, because that's such a deep gang and it's popping up in places like Buffalo, New York, Detroit, Indianapolis, that has nothing to do with California, nor do they even have any homies that have homies that come from there. A lot of these guys come from El Salvador, Honduras, Mexico, come up and get into these neighborhoods. They don't know nothing about no Southern and MS13 understanding.
Well, the LA faction is almost different than the nationwide faction.
It is.
A lot of dudes that are nationwide spread out. A lot of them are reporting to their home country. You know what I'm saying? There's been so much recruitment with people. What happened is with MS13 and the uprising crime, right? In 18th Street, because there was a lot of people that were of different nationalities, they ended up getting deported. They were going strong on crime. And what ended up happening is when they transferred them over to, you know, El Salvador, Honduras, and all these areas, they started to recruit in those areas. So now you got homegrown people, that individuals that are MS13 from Honduras, from all these different countries over there, that decide to migrate and stretch their branch all throughout the country. So you're going to have a little bit of power struggle. I mean, you're going to have people in that country, they're going to say, why are we going to listen to LA? Why are we going to listen to MA? I mean, this is who we are. Now, I'm not saying that that's what occurred here, but come on, it's kind of common sense, bro.
In my mind, I look at the MS13 and the 18th Street that, you know, do their thing in California. I look at them as Southsiders. Now, the MS13 all over, especially away from the Southwest or West Coast, anywhere away from the border, anywhere away from the Pacific Ocean, I look at them as almost a different entity. You know what I mean? Just because of the vastness of their let's call it empire, the vastness of their empire. I don't think 90% of them outside of that area have anything to do with LA. Like you said, they're getting directives from maybe El Salvador.
I met
It's
one.
different, bro. It's different.
I was in the hole in Santa Rita. I met one. He didn't speak no English, all tatted up on his face. I guess one of the homies in there tried to hit him up all disrespectful. He straight up said, I'm not a Sureño. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He was just a MS13, whatever, you know what I mean? So I don't know if the nationwide structure, or if they think that out there. I mean, if you really think about it, these countries over there, they're Honduras, you know what I mean, Salvador, they're not of Mexican descent. So do you think there may be some harbors of animosity? Like, why are we going to be aligned with something that has the Mexican mafia title in it?
You never know.
You never know.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to start no rumors or anything like that, man. But
Yeah.
in those, South American countries and Mexico in general, there's a lot of Mexican pride. There's a lot of Honduras pride. There's a lot of Salvadorian pride. I mean, just go to a soccer game and see what happens. You know what I mean? So you may have individuals over there that have influence and power. Plus, they're dealing and working with totally different groups over there. They're working with different nationalists, if you know what I'm talking about, man.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that's the reason, but there may become a breaking point where they're like, you know what, man, we're not going to pay our taxes. We're going to do our own thing.
You know what's a trip, bro? Like me and you have discussed it before, and I've discussed it with other people, just a casual conversation in regular life, bro, is that, man, MS13 and 18th Street both, if they got more organized and had better communication, they'd be a handful, bro. They would be a handful. If they had all their different units and all over the country and all over the world, way more in sync than they do, because it's very loose, from what I see, bro, as an outsider, you know what I mean? I can't say for sure, but the activities would be a little different if it wasn't, in my opinion. They'd be a force, bro. Both of those groups they'd be another Southerners, bro, essentially. They'd be another group, just like the Tongos, just like the Syndicate. They could have their own thing, dude. They're deep, bro. They're deep.
Well, I mean, that's why their national syndicate operates a lot differently. LA base is under the MA basically. The ones from down there, I really can't speak upon, but I've been told that a lot of times they'll ride with the Southsiders when they go to the feds or something like that, right? But a lot of times they're kind of more independent.
Yeah.
They have their own chain of command structure, their own little network cells of communicating. That's totally different. You know what I mean? Because a lot of them have family that still stays over there. So their whole purpose is to make money and send it back home. Why not?
Yeah, for sure,
know?
for sure. Yeah, they're thick with history. Another thing that I wanted to touch on, it's a little bit different, man, is right around the end of the first week of January in all the federal institutions, and this has nothing to do with this first part of this. This is just part of the update. A lot of the NF members and a lot of Northern Umbrella, more NSOLs than anything, they got officially labeled from Washington, D.C. as a disruptive group. And what that means is come about the end of the first week of January, NF members and NSOLs and a few Northerners from all over the federal prison system got snatched up. The order is, as I understand it, is that they don't want any NF umbrella individual on California soil that's in the federal prison system. They don't want them at no what do they call them? MCIs, FCIs.
MCIs.
Yeah, they don't want them at that. They only want them at USPs. So everybody who's been spread out in the feds that might have got to them federal correctional institutions or whatever they are have been snatched up. They're in maximum security and they're going to be rehousing them only in USPs now because they've gave them a higher level of a classification. So,
well, you know why, Rojo, right?
Tell me why.
Because the NF never really had a strong presence in the feds for years. So you couldn't even validate them in the feds. The MA was, the AB and all these groups were. They never really had too many members. I mean, you had Tarzan there for a while. Mad Dog got there in the late 90s. You know what I mean? You had
Happy.
Well, Happy got there later, but you also had, I think, once Charlie Brown was there for a minute too, and some other cats, man. So they never had really any problems or any type of structure for a minute. Once the fellas got there, things have changed. So now they're going back to what they used to do before, slamming people down.
Yeah, it's a trip, man, because what I read is the order specifically says they don't want them on California soil once they've reached the feds whatsoever. You know what I mean? It's like, we're gonna keep California, we're gonna try to keep this particular part of them out of California, but let's send them to another state and have them.
Or oh yeah, but they could have an MA member in that water. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I found weird too, and that's what I was talking about with this individual is that when he had told me this, man, all these killings that just happened at Beaumont, whoopty whoopty whoop, this and that, and this and that, but they're targeting the NF.
And you know what I've been told,
And
right? Is a lot of,
it always seems like that
bro,
particular group gets the business, bro. You know
but
what I
check
mean?
this out, right? I've talked to homies that were in the feds, right? And they've all said the same thing. Because of their conduct on these prison yards, showing common courtesy to the guards, you know what I mean? Not being disrespectful, being professional, being disciplined, that a lot of guards like them actually in the feds, I've been told. A little bit different than the state, because they've already been separated from the Sureños. So there's really not any type of conflict or war going on out on these yards. So I was told that the COs actually like them on the yard because when there's Northerners on the yard, the rest of the yard functions pretty well. You know what I mean? You have less chaos, less drug using, and less problems.
Well, that's because they go out there and they set a particular standard and level of conduct that others try to emulate. You know, hey, these guys, look at how professional they are. Let's get our shit together. You know, and
There's more
everybody
to this
kind of
move.
falls in sync too. You know,
There's definitely more to this move, Rojo.
of course,
You know what I mean? There's a reason why they did it.
there's no doubt about that. There's no
You know what I
doubt.
mean?
You know, what I'm waiting for, man, is everybody gets these state indictments and RICO indictments. You don't see them too often coming out of the feds. You've seen the one with the AB. There's been a couple with the MA, man. But how long is it going to take before the feds try to run it again? And if they do, what does it even accomplish? You already got a bunch of dudes in federal prison for God knows how long. Federal death penalty? I mean, come on, man. There gets to a point where what can you even do anymore?
Yeah.
There's only so much by law that the government can do, and it's already damn near at that point. Slam everybody down, give them indeterminate shoes in the feds, leave them all in Florence. But at the same time, if you're not currently involved in anything that they can prove, or you're not under an indictment, does that start to go against your cruel and unusual punishment type of thing? Like the reason everybody got kicked out
They
of the
gotta fight
studio.
it, bro. They gotta fight it. You know what I mean? USPs are, I guess, are somewhat at least you have your mainline status, you know what I mean? But I mean, if you're not doing anything, you deserve to be on one of these fucking Disneyland yards. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, they're letting other groups be out there. It makes no sense.
There's a lot, and don't get me wrong, the NF is a it's a real group, man. But there's other real groups that share the feds with them: the MA, the Latin Kings, Texas Syndicate, Barrio Azteca. There's a bunch of them, bro, that are just as much with the business as the NF. You know what I mean? You can't take anything away from anybody. They may conduct themselves differently, and they may have a different command structure, but at the end of the day, man, let's talk about it purely in things that have been done over the years. They're right there. You know what I mean? The numbers are the
And
same.
see,
So why is
the
it
feds
always? Why is the target always seem to be on that particular group, bro?
and the federal government is always messing up, bro. I mean, I don't think they realize by having people with influence and leadership skills that have a goal and an agenda, you're going to have less violence, you're going to have less conflict, and you're going to have less problems. So taking these people off these yards, you just took away the proper guidance for when people hit the feds. Now you're going to bring chaos to the situation. They never get that part. You know what I mean? I mean, get out's going to happen. War's going to happen at times. Shit happens. That's prison. But you want certain people out there in the yards to keep the checks and balances.
I agree with you, man. Anyway, I don't think there's any more to this update, man. But the thing that went on in Beaumont it's going to be a thing that's going to probably be happening for a minute. It's probably not resolved. You never know. Could it be done? Yeah. Could it lead to a whole bunch of problems? It could. Could it spread to the state? It could. Could it spread to the streets? It could. Could this be the end of it and people go to the table and reach an agreement? It could. We don't know. A lot of people have been asking what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? Man, this is in its infancy. It's hard to say, how it's going to grow. And another thing I wanted to point out, because a lot of people says, oh, this is the Texas Mexican Mafia. It was in Texas. No, 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 no. This is the federal prison system. Every group from all over the country goes to any prison that they send them to. So just because it's in, basically Houston, Texas, Beaumont, Texas, that doesn't mean it's the Texas Mexican Mafia. This is the California Mexican Mafia having a little thing going on with another group. This has nothing to do with the Texas FAMAs, nothing like that. This is MS, the MA, and the Southern umbrella. A lot of people get misunderstood because this happened in a Texas prison. It's not a Texas prison. It's a United States prison. You know, and
Yeah.
I'm not saying this to our day oneers who understand, but I got a lot of comments like basically telling me I'm an idiot because no, dude, no. You got to understand the way the prison system works. And this is a Mexican mafia yard. It's an MS yard. Nothing about it is Mexican mafia or any of the FAMAs from Texas. This is California business that just happens to be playing out somewhere else. Just to clear that up for those who, you know, maybe not too familiar with how things work, you know, and I'm not the most familiar with the federal prison system either, but I do talk to people that are in there, and I do have, you know, a basic understanding good enough to tell everybody that this has nothing to do with the Texas MA, Mexican MA, whatever they call that group. So that's that. Anyway, YouTube, just a quick update. What's going on in the feds? Will there be more? Remains to be seen. Probably. You know what I'm saying? How long will the lockdown last? There's no telling. Because one, they're gonna do the shortage of staff thing like they always do. The COVID thing brings another dimension into it. Shortage of staff. People are sick. You know, when 30% of the COs are sick, it's going to be hard to have regular yard time. This is all an effort to just slam everything down because they know who they're dealing with. They know, you know, if an MA individual got hit and they don't feel like they've got their proper get backs yet, they're going to get their proper get backs.
Oh yeah.
And the same with MS. MS ain't no punks either, bro. You can't say they are. I mean, look at the news, look at the things they do. Straight up. So, like they say, out of an abundance of caution, they got to do it. And it makes sense, bro, because the odds of it being over at this point aren't that high. You know what I mean? Just my opinion.
I agree.
So where it goes, you know, we'll know as soon as this place comes off lockdown, as soon as, you know, they lift this stuff, which is probably going to be a while. You know, half the damn guards are sick, half the inmates are sick. They're going to keep it locked down for a minute more than likely. And even if they do resume program, those two particular groups probably won't be a part of that resume program, at least at this point. Just guessing again, you know what I mean? But it's an educated guess. So we'll see where it takes us. And everybody asks me all the time for update. I promise you, as soon as we have updates, I'll drop what I'm doing and update it immediately in the car, wake up. It doesn't matter. I'll let you know because we try to bring it to you first. It's your boy Rojo, Big Flacco. Little update about the feds, man. Hope you guys enjoy your day. It's Friday, man. Make the most of your weekend. Stay safe. Don't get in no trouble. And remember, if you don't get involved in gangs, you don't got to worry about people surrounding your cell and holding the cell door closed and giving you them things, because them things, they're effective. Have a good day.